You guys remember when when Jada came out and said that she would be attending the Academy Awards, and I stated that the reason why Jada said that because her husband got a snub, because people talking about Will Smith did a great job in the movie Concussion. And then some people theorize that the NFL and them probably had something to do with it, whatever the reasons being. I thought Jada was being opportunistic or being self-serving. And I said that Jada was doing what a lot of blacks have done and others have done, but a lot of blacks have done, pretend as if racism doesn't exist to further their careers and whatnot. And then when they stop getting invited to the party or people move on to them or start to attack them, they want to run back and be black. Now, some of y'all criticize me for not defending Jada. And I said if Jada said something last year when her husband wasn't doing any movies, or the year before that, or been critical of Hollywood or racism throughout the years, then I probably gave her the benefit of the doubt. A lot of people have forgotten that 20 years ago, Reverend Jackson and others wanted to boycott the Academy Awards because brothers and sisters was not being nominated, or the movies they were in that was playing sidekicks or doing excellent parts and wasn't getting any awards. I mean, the most famous is with Spike Lee and Denzel did Malcolm X, and Denzel didn't get the Academy Award. And then when Denzel did, wait, let me take that back. Denzel did get an Academy Award for Glory. That was supporting actor. We talking about the big prize, the best actor and best actress. So eventually, when Denzel and Halle got it, a lot of people said, "Wait a minute, Denzel didn't get it for Hurricane. He didn't get it for Malcolm. He didn't get it for Remember the Titans. He got it for playing a crooked cop." Now, a lot of people said Denzel kicked ass playing that cop. I mean, he did kick ass in Training Day, but the thing is, you had to play something so in the realm of a stereotype. Because you know they think blacks are crooked. Anything we do are crooked. So people want to see us do that. Cuba Gooding Jr. won a supporting actor award for being a coon like Whoopi Goldberg. The only people that I think that won the Academy Award for actually just purely acting has been Jamie Foxx, Louis Gossett Jr., and Sidney Poitier. Now, that doesn't mean that those brothers and sisters didn't act in those movies, but they played characters that people already think that blacks are in the stereotype. I mean, Halle Berry is not a great actor whatsoever. Angela Bassett got passed over for Halle Berry to win for playing basically a ghetto gagger, a Negro bed warmer. And she did the most graphic scene, even though we didn't see no genitals or no penetration. That was sex scene was more graphic than the shit we see on HBO, on Skinamax, on Showtime. And if you watch Showtime and the movie channel, when they do show some of those softcore porn, Showtime is the movie channel is graphic verbally. But they don't show them a lot like they did once it was mainstream. Oprah celebrated it. People was cheering for it in Black America, like, huh? That's why we know it's Black America stopped cheering for Halle like that. And Denzel was sort of like, people was taking him back. They was like, we want Denzel to win because he deserved it, but we sort of like, the Halle. Whoa, that was, Then 2004, around that, around 2005, Jamie got it. Forrest Whitaker got an Academy Award, you know, because they. But guess what? Forrest Whitaker, he played a actual person. Jamie played actual people. Then we get to 12 Years a Slave, when Lupita and them was nominated, she won, and then John Ridley, who wrote this, won. Okay, people say, "Oh, that movie was this," because without half the Academy to even watch the movie. So a lot of black folks said, "Wait a minute," even white folks said, "Wait a minute, you nominated a movie that y'all didn't watch? That sounds kind of weird." Right then and there, that's when we should have started asking questions how these Oscars are voted upon, but we didn't. Jada and them didn't. So when the things was going on across the country with us, I said we should be talking about some other things that are more important right now than the Oscars. Not saying the Oscars are not important to those brothers and sisters who perform in the industry. But right now, you have brothers and sisters purposely being poisoned in Flint. You got brothers and sisters being shot down across the country. You got them trying to go out to voting. Now, when Chris Rock said, comparing, we had more important things, he was saying, "Why you Negroes complaining? You ain't got nothing to complain about." And I never meant for my words to be seen similar. This is the problem. Yeah, it's nuance. You got to be careful, because a lot of times we say the same things that don't mean the same things. But anyways, people's hyping up Chris need to quit. I told y'all Chris wasn't going to quit. He's not that type of brother. Chris is an opportunist. Chris is going to look out for Chris Rock. I hope I didn't say Chris Brown. So many Chris's in 1 minute. Chris Brown, Chris Rock, Chris Tucker. I'm sorry if I said Chris Brown. Meant Chris Rock. Chris Rock it's the same brother that said there's black folk and there's niggas. And ever since he said that, white folk been using that. When Chris was complaining, I said, "Y'all, Chris," I've said over the years about Chris, I said, he got weird time on Mr. Black. He talked about the 4th of July. 1 minute, then he criticized black folk for saying something. Like, he's schizophrenic in his thinking. When he got pulled over last year, he was bitching and moaning. That's why Isaiah Washington wasn't being sympathetic to Chris. Now y'all see why Isaiah wasn't sympathetic to Chris. He said, what did Chris do? He said it's a little problematic. Everybody got mad at Isaiah Washington. Now y'all see why some of us don't ride with Chris. And way before this, y'all know, you've been following me, I've been critical of Chris. Because they make jokes at the expense of black people. So when last night he came out to Public Enemy, first of all, that insulted me. Because Public Enemy has been pretty much ostracized. Remember, it was attacked as being quote-unquote anti-Semitic. And the only reason why, because they're talking about black issues and telling our people that pride in themselves, and they was against that idiot rap. I refuse to call it gangster rap, because these cats are not gangsters. The gangsters on Wall Street, in the United States government, or your local government, those are gangsters. Right along with your traditional gangsters, the next generation Al Capones and John Gotti's and whatnot. Those are your gangsters. But during the course of that, people's having debates about what we should do. And Roland said, yeah, boycott, but we should also be focused on the business end of it. Whoopi Goldberg got pissed off. And then I said, why she forgot? I forgot. What Whoopi do? And then when Roland brought, I said, yeah, that's right. Whoopi Goldberg and Oprah and Quincy Jones and criticized Reverend Jackson and Farrakhan and the black folks that was complaining in the 90s about the lack of diversity at the Oscars and the movies and on television. Y'all remember back when UPN had the Secret Diaries of Desmond Pfeiffer or something, when Chop McBride was playing Lincoln's butler, and everybody's complaining about Homeboys in Outer Space. Remember that? With Daryl Bell and Flex Alexander, you remember that? And people say, really, UPN? Because by that time, UPN had became a failed business model because nobody was watching it, because the stations was on, the preamp, and then the same thing with the WB, for the UPN and WB merged. And a lot of people was mad at Jesse and Al and demanded there was equality and fairness. But remember, Quincy Jones, Oprah Winfrey, Whoopi Goldberg, what all those three have in common? They all fucked around Caucasians and they identify themselves as white folk. Quincy Jones the biggest one. And you know, out of respect to Quincy Jones for a long time, a lot of us have stayed off his ass. But rumors have gone on about Quincy Jones for years, and I'm pretty sure some of y'all in the comment section will fill in. I hope y'all do, to give some people education. I don't care how outlandish this shit sound, put it out there. Because Quincy Jones said something, did something that's rubbed me the wrong way. Whoopi Goldberg, she just typical handkerchief head Negro black woman. She is typical. I know people say Negro black woman. She 1 minute she want to be down, the next minute she playing a stereotypical Negro. Next minute she playing a stereotypical black woman. You don't understand when you think about it. This is the same Whoopi that let white folks bullying her from her position of defending somebody, and then she gets on TV and make these comments about us, and then claim that she didn't do it, claim that she's the victim, when people forget, or if she forget, that how she came under attack, and it wasn't from our people. But Quincy Jones, he an old coon. Motherfucker originally from Chicago. Yeah, he the only thing you hear about when you talk about his bio. Motherfucker went and played in different bands and went to Europe. Because if you watch part of Ray, you get a piece of what Quincy mindset is. Quincy Jones didn't fuck with no black women at a certain point. His daughter is Rashida Jones. That's why she go back and forth pretending one minute she down and she black, then she mixed and she ain't. Quincy Jones said he's going to address the Academy Award. People said, well, Quincy going to come out. I'm like, wait a minute. Why Quincy waiting now to say something? He could have said something back in the 90s. Then we get close to the Oscars, oh, he changed his mind. Now, y'all notice Oprah been silent for the last couple of years since The Butler. No, she ain't said nothing about anything about politics. She ain't said nothing about Cosby. She ain't said nothing about this year's Oscars. Oprah ain't saying shit. Only ones that been talking, the ones who was originally criticizing blacks, was Whoopi and Quincy Jones on handkerchief head ass. I'm gonna play a segment and y'all gonna understand why I'm going in on Quincy Jones. Why I got an image of Quincy Jones, and then once I play that, I'm gonna play something else. Then I'm gonna come back and tell y'all why I feel the way I feel about Chris Rock, Quincy Jones, Whoopi Goldberg, and some of these motherfuckers in Hollywood.
There's big reaction today to Chris Rock's 11-minute opening monologue at this year's Oscars.
Things are going to be a little different at the Oscars. This year, in the in memoriam package, is just going to be black people that were shot by the cops on their way to the movies.
The host skewered the lack of black nominees, but also went after actress Jada Pinkett Smith for boycotting the ceremony.
I will not be at the Academy Awards, and I won't be watching.
Jada's going to boycott the Oscars. Jada boycotting the Oscars is like me boycotting Rihanna's panties. I wasn't invited.
And they showed Sophia Regard laughing her ass off. I mean, she was, they showed Jennifer Lawrence laughing her ass off. First of all, Chris, as I said before at the beginning of this, Jada was pissed off because of her husband. In a way, I thought about it a little bit. I gotta respect that. That means she's still about her man, which we don't see a lot of in our community. And Will said, well, my wife's not going, I'm not going. He still buys his woman. So I got to give him props. It's just that the timing, if Jada would have been more consistent throughout the last few years, I'd have gave her the benefit of doubt. Sophia Vergara, she laughed her ass off. Sophia, let me break something down to your Taco Bell bean eating ass. You are a lighter version of what they really want in a black female. When they talk about curves and how she look and everything, she's exotic. She's a fetish for them. And the reason why I bring this up because I saw Sophia. She laughing at Chris making fun of Jada. Then Chris made fun of Rihanna, calling her a whore. Why did he use Rihanna? Why didn't he use Taylor Swift? Think about that for a second. Why did he use Taylor Swift? Right there, they laughed so hard. But Taylor ain't no different than Rihanna. Why you use Taylor Swift? She's been in the media the last few days. She got caught lying and saying that Kanye didn't communicate with her. Notice how the media stopped talking about that when they found out that she lied? Why did you use Taylor? But Sophia and them, they laughed their ass off. And then these motherfuckers had a nerve. Why Chris did say something about the Hispanic community? Why did he say something about the Asian community? Why did he say something about the Hindu or Arab community? It's funny. When we get our nigga moments, when we stop here, everybody want to be inclusive. When Donald Trump went after Hispanics, did you hear the Hispanic? He said, yeah, Donald Trump has a history. Remember how he's been going out insulting the black community and our quote unquote first black president, technically not our first black president. Nobody else, when they get attacked, bitching us, unless they trying to get allies, they'll throw out Dr. King. Last night when I saw the audience members laughing at some of those jokes, I'm like, why are y'all laughing about people being hung? Why are you laughing about a man's wife saying she wasn't going? There are a lot of television acts. Sophia Vergara is primary for television. She ain't never carried them. Ain't nobody say, let's go see a Sophia Vergara movie.
Whoopi Goldberg joined Chris Rock in ripping the boycott.
Whenever anybody says boycott, it really pisses me off, so I try not to boycott.
Now, this is just saying Whoopi Goldberg back when our studio hall invited Mr. Farrakhan on. She joined Cisco and Ebert, but they rest in hell, and said, I ain't going on our studio if he gonna have that man on. Is this the same Whoopi Goldberg that fucked and sucked half the white Hollywood men that is? Isn't the same Whoopi Goldberg that was quote unquote trying to be balanced and white folks bullying her into going after Bill Cosby? Now, here comes, I want to listen to what old man Quincy Jones had to say.
Anybody says boycott, it really pisses me off, so I try not to boycott.
Music legend Quincy Jones had this reaction.
Boycott, doesn't mean anything. What happens from a boycott? Like Ferguson? Get out of here.
This reaction.
Boycott, doesn't mean anything. What happens from a boycott? Like Ferguson? Get out of here.
This reaction.
Boycott, doesn't mean anything. What happens from a boycott? Like Ferguson? Get out of here.
This reaction.
Boycott, doesn't mean anything. What happens from a boycott? Like Ferguson? Get out of here.
This reaction.
Boycott, doesn't mean anything. What happens from a boycott? Like Ferguson? Get out.
He said boycott don't mean anything. Like Ferguson? We know how you get down, Mr. Jones, politically. We know how you get down. It doesn't mean anything like Ferguson. First of all, what happened in Ferguson, if anybody really wanted to do some investigating, they had agitators from outside of Ferguson, right along with some agitators within Ferguson. And what I mean by outside agitators, there were white folks coming in. There were people that they thought were police officers, and you had opportunists. It only take one person to start something, and everybody join in. It was a free-for-all. But why would he mention Ferguson? Why would you mention Ferguson? I don't recall anybody boycotting Ferguson. They protest Ferguson. They didn't boycott Ferguson, Mr. Jones. So you threw the people of Ferguson under the bus. You threw Mike Brown family under the bus. He said boycott don't mean anything. That's why, if you notice, back during the 60s, you couldn't find Quincy Jones in the civil rights movement. This is why I keep telling y'all, a lot of those black folks did Martin Luther King and Malcolm. That's why you don't never see Quincy standing by Harry Belafonte. Y'all in the same age group. See this, and see now people gonna say, well, Harvey Quincy is married to a white woman. He got some half-breed zebra ass mixed daughters. Yeah, Harry Belafonte is married to a white woman, and he still go out there and he did what he had to do. See, Quincy Jones is the type of black motherfucker that you got where you at because you were black, black folks support you, then whites discovered you all of a sudden. And you said, "Ooh, white folks discovered me. I'm gonna go." He ain't nothing but a O.J. Simpson. Just that his hands he ain't do nothing stupid. Boycott, what the boycott mean? It don't mean nothing. See, it goes back to something I mentioned 20 years ago what Quincy and Whoopi said. It don't mean nothing. And then now y'all should be mad at these motherfuckers, but y'all mad at Cosby because he said something about us pulling our pants up and respecting ourselves. These are your coons. These are the motherfuckers get in front of mixed company and say shit, and then we remember because the media don't play they clips in nauseum. They don't play them over and over because they want you to go feel this warm, fuzzy feeling about Quincy Jones. This motherfucker is from Chicago. This man had nothing to do with his hometown. This man don't come back and say, let me invest some money in my alma mater. Whoopi Goldberg, every time somebody come over you, white guys hug her, you knew she'd have been on her knees. They showed a little package of her with Quincy Jones this morning. Not Quincy Jones, Steven Spielberg. She hugged, we love each other. Last night, Quincy Jones, when that Taco Bell eating old man won for best score or whatever soundtrack. Quincy, before that, he was shouting out Steven Spielberg like, yeah, whatever. Then he had him next to the new black Pharrell with the blonde hair. Looking like a goddamn fool. See, as y'all can tell, I have no respect for these type of Negroes. They dangerous. These motherfuckers are dangerous. That's why y'all notice. You notice a lot of black folk don't sing Quincy Jones praises. That's why his daughter Rashida Jones, she gives these little quaint interviews about blackness and stuff. You heard it. Quincy said it don't mean anything. Remember that again.
Anybody says boycott, it really pisses me off, so I try not to boycott.
Music legend Quincy Jones had this reaction.
Boycott, it doesn't mean anything. What happens from a boycott? Like Ferguson? Get out of here.
Social media went wild over Rock's monologue. The New York Post says Oscars rocked, but there was also negative reaction. The Hollywood Reporter says Rock had important things to say, but it felt endless.
Also on here in the
And then what bothered me, they brought the token black presenters out. Did Sacha Baron Cohen come out doing his Ali G thing? It wasn't funny. They basically told Jada, Will, and any black person that felt that is not diverse in Hollywood, fuck you. Now I got people trolling, coming to my channel telling me, I'm black. And first of all, let me say this: if you gotta say you black, chances are you're not black, or if you are black, you don't know your fucking history. Now, like I said in my other videos, this wasn't the most important thing because there's a lot of things that we need to be talking about. The only thing, now I'm not saying this is not important to those brothers and sisters in Hollywood. You want to be rewarded for what you do. I'm not going to sit there and lie and say that as a human being you don't at some point. My issues with consistency. That's all I had. But I would never be a black person if I was going to host a show, get up there and throw my own people in the bus and then make jokes about slavery. Now I want y'all to listen to this real quick because this is the a part of a discussion they had on CNN, and I want y'all to listen to this because Don Lemon and them was on there. You know Don Lemon, how cool she is. And I want y'all to listen to this because they're gonna defend Chris. And the sister gonna try to call out the Don like, well, he's a convict and whatnot. And I'm gonna fast forward because I really want you guys to listen to this because we have people in our community that like to defend just dumb shit. And I'm not, and y'all should know, Don shouldn't be surprised about Don Lemon. This motherfucker threw all of us under the bus at some point.
Chris Rock Rock taking on Hollywood and racism head-on at the Oscars. Spent his entire opening monologue on the race controversy. It has everyone talking today. Here's a look at what he said.
The big question, why this Oscars? Why this Oscars? You know, it's the 88th Academy Awards. It's the 88th Academy Awards, which means this whole no black nominees thing has happened at least 71 other times. Okay? You gotta figure that it happened in the 50s, in the 60s. You know, in the 60s, one of those years, Sydney didn't put out a movie. I'm sure there were no black nominees some of those years, say 62 or 63, and black people did not protest. Why? Because we had real things to protest at the time. Yeah?
Now, right? He said we had real things to protest. So let me get this straight. And I never even said that we had real things. I said, let me take that back. I have to be careful because I did say more important things. See, this was a problem when it comes to blacks criticizing certain things and blacks criticized for others' approval. See, this is the thing when I talk about nuance. This is why when people say Bill Cosby's like a Republican, when Bill Cosby it's not a Republican, he was criticizing certain behaviors that we've engaged in as a community. So I know there's a lot of people saying, well, Bill Cosby conservative. I'm like, no, he isn't. But we let people hijack a certain thought process with certain words. And Chris need to understand, 1960s America, blacks wasn't in a shitload of movies back then. It wasn't the black Hollywood of then is not the black Hollywood of today. So for him to go there like that means he's painfully dumb of history. I'm pretty sure black people say, man, why we gotta play maids? It was a running joke even to this day that every time a black person in a movie, he either sidekick, she's a sidekick, or they're gonna die, or they're gonna be a criminal in some shape or form. You see how they got a big cross line?
They real things to protest. You know, we're too busy being raped and lynched to care about who won best cinematographer. You know, when your grandmother's swinging from a tree, it's really hard to care about best documentary foreign short. But what happened this year? What happened? People went mad. Well, Spike got mad, and Sharpton got mad, and Jada went mad.
And you know what? He threw Spike and Sharpton under the bus when Jada made the video first. Spike just said, him and his wife said, I can't in good conscience go to a award show that is constant, a ceremony that's constantly picking and choosing certain people or certain things to acknowledge. But he threw Sharpton and Spike, and you know Sharpton and Spike is hated by the so-called media, whether you think the media is liberal or conservative, which is no such thing as liberal to come down to black. But he threw those names out at first because I knew he's serving up. He's about to come after Will and Jada. Now I criticize Will and Jada, but I wouldn't dare stand in front of one of a global audience and throw my people on the bus. That's what I keep telling y'all. That's the people you should be mad at, the Negroes that get in front of mixed company and make it seem like we ain't got nothing to do. See, I ain't gonna lie, the more I look at Chris Rock, the more I hate this motherfucker with a passion. He's in that territory of blacks that I just despise with a passion because he's done this before.
Will went mad, everybody went mad, you know? It's quite like Jada got mad. Jada says she's not coming, protesting. I'm like, it's on a TV show. Jada's gonna boycott the Oscars. Jada boycotting the Oscars is like me boycotting Rihanna's panties. I wasn't invited.
And then the Hindu chick from that new show ABC, they got the camera laugh. She was laughing like, yeah, right, yeah. And then they got the white woman, is a white one behind like, oh my gosh. He said that, but they focused the people of color are the one in the same, and they laughed harder. Now Kevin Hart was laughing. They were like, boy, y'all better laugh because of that Sony thing. I saw Louis Gossett back there. He was smirking. They don't even mention you when they talk about the Oscars award, Mr. Gossett. Whoopi Goldberg like a stuffed here, grown ass woman got a tattoo on her. They mistaked her for Oprah last night. Read that shit and showed you. Whoopi said, "Oh, they made a mistake. They didn't mean that." Whoopi and Oprah don't look nothing the fuck alike. They got two different complexions. They wear two totally different hairstyles. You mean to tell me for 30 years y'all mistake Whoopi and Oprah? Really?
Oh, that's not an invitation I would turn down. But I understand.
And you know what? He said that, and you know, Chris dating no girl. And y'all know he's divorced, right? And Chris said that's not an invitation I would turn down. Rihanna old enough to be Chris's daughter. Yeah, I know y'all. It's hard to believe that Chris Rock is in his 50s, his early 50s. Yeah, I know it's hard to believe that. Chris is around the same age as Eddie, if I'm not mistaken. Okay? His girlfriend is the one that played on Vixen on the Flash the other night, the CW Flash television show. She's what, 30? I think she's what, 32, something like that. So he said that Rihanna, he called her a whore. He said, "I want to be turning it down." Everybody was laughing at this shit, but these are the same people was defending her with a black with Chris. See how they do and say things. 1 minute they love you, then they want to skew you, but when you got a black person up there cracking on you, oh, it's hilarious. I didn't find this opening bit funny or groundbreaking. It would have been more groundbreaking if he came out and observed and kept it serious. Probably didn't do his riff and do that crisp rock voice that he does. Those of you out here who are defending Chris Rock, saying he did a great job, y'all don't know your history. And if you are white, I think you might want to shut up on this one. Y'all get really mad when black folks criticize other blacks. Y'all, this black guy said something about Chris Rock. It was funny. He hit the right. No, it wasn't. Just like when y'all talk about President Obama's so-called race speech. It wasn't funny. It wasn't great.
You know, I'm not hating. I understand you're mad. Jay's mad. Her man, Will, was not nominated for concussion. I get it. Tell the truth. I get it. You get mad. That it's not fair that Will was this good and didn't get nominated. Yeah, you're right. It's also not fair that Will was paid $20 million for Wild Wild West. Okay? Things, you know, this year the Oscars, things are gonna be a little different. Things are gonna be a little different at the Oscars. This year, in the in memoriam package, is just gonna be black people that were shot by the cops on their way to the movies. Yes, I said it, alright? Hey, if you want black nominees every year, you need to just have black categories. That's what you need. You need to have black categories. You already do it with men and women. Think about it. There's no real reason for there to be a man and a woman category in acting. It's not, come on. There's no reason. It's not track and field. You don't have to separate them. You know, Robert De Niro's never said, "I better slow this acting down so Meryl Streep can catch up." No, not at all, man. If you want black people every year at the Oscars, just have black categories like Best Black Friend. That's right. And the winner for the 18th year in a row is Wanda Sykes. This is Wanda's 18th Black Oscar. But here's the real question. The real question everybody wants to know. Everybody wants to know in the world, is Hollywood racist? Is Hollywood racist? You know, that's you know, you gotta go at that the right way. Is it Burning Cross racist? No. Is it Fetch Me Some Lemonade racist? No. It's a different type of racist.
He goes on to say, it's sorority racist. We're going to get into this. We'll talk all about Chris Rock and some of the lines that are definitely being questioned today by critics. Stay with me.
It's everything I love about French toast at a whole level.
Introducing double dip French toast at IHOP.
I loved that my first bite had crunch and it would straight into like the soft
Blackberries and
Sorry about that. I stepped out of the room for a second. I wanted you guys to hear that, but I'm gonna fast forward to the part where you guys can hear Don Lemon talking, and Don Lemon gonna do what he traditionally does. He gonna try to rationalize and whatnot.
It's not about boycotting. It's just we want opportunity. We want the black actors to get the same opportunities. And what actors, that's it.
Just like that, Chris Rock came out swinging, taking on the elephant in the room, the Oscars diversity controversy. Let's get straight to it. I wanted to bring the same panel back as we chatted before. I have Don Lemon, who's live in Los Angeles, who was in the room. So we'll chat with him on how it felt in the room versus how we watched it on TV. Chris Witherspoon is with me here in New York, CNN analyst and entertainment editor of thegrio.com, and back with us as well. We're so thankful. Mickey Turner, USC Annenberg lecturer and pop culture critic. So, Mickey, I just wanted to go to you first because you've covered so many of these different Academy Awards. To watch Chris Rock go on, how did you do? What do you think?
Everyone from Whoopi Goldberg to J.J. Abrams has said he rocked it last night. I don't think he rocked it so much as he kept it moving. A lot of his jokes fell flat, and I think part of the reason is there's the fatigue factor because this hashtag has been going on for a couple of months, and probably 101% of people in the room don't care anymore. And the other thing, I think it just went above people's heads. They didn't get the humor. They didn't know how to.
But I wish you could see Don Lemon cooning ass. You know what? Let me say this, and if I haven't said this, there's a certain group of black folks I wish death on. I normally don't say that, but I truly do. Now, I said it's a certain group. I never mention no names. But it's a certain group because they're dangerous. Because they sit on TV and they apologize for the stupid behaviors of blacks who are getting paid. But the brother and sister on the corner that's cooning, y'all want to focus on. But the motherfuckers that's on these basketball courts, on these baseball fields, on these football fields, singers, actors, comics, professors, and them who have sold our brothers and sisters out. They think it's cool to sit on TV and defend. What Chris did last night was insulting, and a lot of blacks, well, let me say this, the blacks that have come on my channel so far, and the ones who've done videos ain't feeling what Chris did. I'm telling you right now, it wasn't groundbreaking. You heard Quincy Jones, you heard Whoopi Goldberg. I want y'all to listen to Don Lemon, and I want you to listen to the sister who wants to talk right now. She sets the tone, but watch how Don and Brooklyn change the tone than the brother from the grill. Just listen. I want you to listen very closely what Don says.
But the lines, just staying with you, the lines about, my grandmother hanging from a tree, lynching, raping, was that too far for you, or was that appropriate?
Absolutely too far, because I think there's a segment of the population where that memory is still too fresh, and it's too dark. If he had said something about the Holocaust, he probably wouldn't have been able to get out of the room alive. So yeah, I think that went too far.
Don, you were sitting there in the room. How did it feel? How did people there react?
Well, I love Nikki. I think she's right on point about some things. So Nikki, I have to disagree with you about others. I expect Chris Rock to go there, and the grandmother hanging from a tree thing didn't offend me.
Now you know what? You heard motherfucker, it's faggot, it's HIV carrying motherfucker said that didn't offend him. Let me break some down to you. I offend me because I have a father, I have aunts and uncles who lived through Jim Crow. Family members who had to leave Mississippi, had to leave Arkansas because of threat of violence against them, because they didn't yes sir or no sir the right way. We forget that just this weekend they had a rally, a Klan rally in Anaheim, California. We got little girls taking pictures with t-shirts that spell the word nigger. Just yesterday, they reported in one of the Chicago area suburban schools, they had a slave auction. This supposed to be Black History Month. How many documentaries did you see air about Black History Month? Every year they get further and further away from our contributions and our history to become more than a footnote. And you got this faggot sitting here saying, the mother hanging from the tree didn't offend me. That should tell you Don Lemon's mindset right there. That's why he led the charge to aid in destroying a black man, because this motherfucker had no loyalty to our people. Remember, this is a motherfucker that takes another white man's penis, puts it in his mouth, in his anus, and swallow. Yes, I'm going there. Notice all the black folks that defended Quincy Jones, like Dudley, like Quincy Jones, Whoopi Goldberg, they all got intimate relationships with white folk. So of course they're going to be critical of us, or some of us who feel the need to call out certain things. My grandmother had 12 kids, technically 13. The last one didn't survive, miscarried. She worked the fields. Right along with my grandfather, sharecropping. My father and his brothers, when they talk about my grandmother who died in 98, she was what, 90? No, she was 80 something, 83, 84 years old. They said they used to watch, I remember looking at my little grandmother. They said they used to watch their mama being paid out there in the field, doing things, washing and stuff. She couldn't go to the hospital to get the proper care as a woman. My grandfather wanted to protect his wife and daughters. He had to bow his head down. White men could say, "Look at that nigga bitch, we want that piece of ass." Every time they wanted him, my grandfather couldn't do, because he knew they would have killed him. They would have had their way with my grandmother or his daughters. Dunn, you from the South. What is it with some of you Southern fried Negroes? That shit offended you more than it offended me. Dunn, you got 8 years on me. Y'all gotta excuse me when I get passionate like that, because it bothers me that some of my people, this is why we sit and scratch our head like, why have our community got any further? There's motherfuckers like this that sit behind the desk that play with our lives and tell boss man, we got him, boss. Y'all remember that video I did with Farrakhan, that clip? He said traitors deserve death. These motherfuckers they deserve it. I don't care if you're a gangbanger. I don't care if you're law enforcement. I don't care if you're an actor. I don't care if you're a teacher. If you're poisoning your people, you're getting out here stroking the egos of white supremacists or those who identify with it. You are dangerous to me. We already got black women cheering for Donald Trump, and Donald Trump has showed nothing but contempt for black folks over the years. He would even disavow David Duke. I don't know who David Duke is. Are you kidding me? David Duke has been in the press since I was a kid, and I'll be 40 years old this year. So what the fuck, Chuck? Well, I mean, you mean to tell me you don't know? I don't know who he is. And you still got Negroes supporting Trump. Trump is always on Don Lemon's show. They're gonna be asking softball questions. But then when blacks get on, you want to disrespect. You just told us, I love her, but the hanging from the tree joke didn't offend me.
The grandmother hanging from a tree thing didn't offend me, and I think he's a comedian. The grandmother hanging from a tree thing didn't offend me, and I think he's a comedian. The grandmother hanging from a tree thing didn't offend me, and I think he's a comedian. And I want him to say those things. I want him to be controversial.
You want him to say those things. You want him to be controversial. You can be controversial without. Now this is the thing. You want Chris Rock to say offensive things directed towards our people to make white folks feel comfortable. But Don, wasn't you and Tamron Hall and Soledad and Roland, y'all throwing Reverend right under the bus? What all y'all got? what's up so that y'all, the three of them got a Chicago connection. Now, Reverend Wright said what he said was the truth. But y'all attacked him, but Chris said he prayed. No, oh, you know why? Because whites laugh at Chris chose. Really?
Him to be provocative, and he should, and he was. I thought he was perfect. I thought, he made people think when he said that racism is not, what it was. Yes, black people had more important things to think about.
He said racism is not what it was. He said black people had more important things about. You make me sick with this more important shit. Back in the 1950s, blacks wasn't thinking about Hollywood the way they think about it today. We know Hollywood's a different animal today. We know the images are seen on a different scale than it was back then. That right there was dangerous. What they said. So white folks say, what Doug Lemon and Chris Rock and them say, you guys are bitching and moaning for just to be bitching and moaning. But yet, it was handkerchief head Negroes right out there supporting people like Don Lemon. Well, you know what? Let's treat the gay people fairly. Notice Don has no problem throwing black folk under the bus. You notice that? See, we need to stop boycotting using our dollars. This is why I tell brothers and sisters out who do YouTube videos, and people have encouraged me to keep doing. This is why I thought about it. Last week I was down because of shit like this. Because you get tired of hearing the same people having a voice, and you get tired of our brothers and sisters, or those weak-minded brothers and sisters, I say among us, believing this shit that's being put out. Quincy Jones, Whoopi Goldberg, Don Lemon, Oprah Winfrey, and many others in Hollywood are dangerous. I'm telling y'all, Black Hollywood is dangerous. These are bought and paid for coons.
In times past, we weren't thinking about it in the 60s, when Sidney Poitier was receiving Oscars, or received the first Oscar. That wasn't a big deal. That was not the top priority for us. But I also think he was right on about it being a sorority. Just in life, African Americans are not included. People don't understand what it's like to not be a part of the fraternity, and that's kind of what it is.
And basically, you just said that sorority analogy doesn't make sense. Because basically, you're just saying that black folks just want to be invited to the party. No. I don't want to be invited to a fucking party. You don't want me there. I don't want to be there. Some of us don't want to be it. I don't know. See, this is the danger. People, see, this is what they need the opposite opinion. If I was said no, that's not it. I said, first of all, we got to quit talking about an entire group of people. Every black person don't want to be invited. What they want is fairness. You can't sit here and make money off us and then give us the finger at the same time. But I blame Black Hollywood for this. But this is a reporter. Since when is Don Lemon going to give commentary on everything black? He's a faggot. Stick to faggot issues.
In our everyday jobs, even in our jobs in broadcasting, our jobs at CNN, our jobs at what have you, there are certain people who are always invited to the table. And sometimes the people who are not invited to the table are often people of color. And so
people of color. Say black. Stop with this people of color shit. Because everybody else ain't keeping thinking about us.
I think that's what he was saying. So I think that executives in Hollywood and others should check themselves and see if they are allowing, if they are, the frat or fraternity or sorority leader and not allowing everyone to the table. I thought he was right on. Perfect. I loved it.
Chris Weatherspoon.
And I think that speaks to the issue of nepotism that we talked about before. That it is a sorority, it is a fraternity, and not everyone is included.
We were just talking commercial break, Chris, but the executive producer,
who's an African American, really gave Chris Rock free reign. He said in the interview previously that Chris Rock can do whatever he wants to do, and that was kind of what was shown last night. But I think ultimately Chris Rock had really big shoes to fill. On one hand, we have to applaud him. That was hard to do. I don't think any of his contemporaries wanted his job last night. But also on another side of things, some of the things he said kind of were distasteful, like the lynching, the hanging from the trees. I don't want to hear that in a joke. that's something that's very serious, and it kind of diminishes the movement that's happening right now in this country. And I think for so many folks out there, they feel as though he didn't really even address the Oscars so white movement in its kind of entirety.
You think it went too far. I mean, also in terms of just time, it wasn't
it did address it,
but well into deep into the show, half an hour in, he was alluding to it and cracking jokes, and you think,
and even the Stacey
nothing is off limits. Nothing should be off limits in comedy, because those things make you think. The truth is often spoken in jest. And listen, we can't have a different set of standards for black comedians than we have for a white comedian.
Nobody said that, you faggot. Nobody said that. Nobody said nothing about a different set of rules. But I do think that we as black people need to start respecting ourselves a lot more, and our people and our legacies. This is why so many young brothers and sisters do shit today, because they've never been taught about who they are. They're frustrated. They're confused. I'm not saying all like that. I'm not saying people my age or older got all the damn answers. But let me tell you something. When I was a little boy, my parents exposed me to who I am, to my family history, to our world history. So as I grew up, I appreciated what it was like, what certain things were, or when I was able to do certain things. This is why I don't go out there and do harmful things to my brothers and sisters. This is why I don't sit back, and I've not made money off manipulating people or playing into stereotypes. See, a lot of y'all got to understand, when you got a black man or black woman who's willing to trade on their legacy, their family history, their history of their people, and considering how painful it's been for our people, not just in the United States but around this globe, due to white supremacy, you're not a brother or sister. You're no good. You're the enemy who just happened to have my pigment or be identified as me. Dunn is praising shit out of Chris. He knew what Chris said was disrespectful. But see, hearing people like Don Lemon, hearing people like Quincy Jones and Whoopi Goldberg, people that we helped make millionaires. And they have to remember, it was blacks that made them rich first, made them popular. White man and white woman come along, Johnny come lately. So when they get tired of them, they run it back. See, Quincy figured, I'm an old man. I can say what I want, ain't nobody coming after me. Remember, when you think nobody's going after Bill Cosby, see, that's the difference. Bill Cosby actually cared about his people. Quincy don't give a fuck about black people. And don't y'all say, well, he did the USA for Africa. That was just an 80s tax thing. Every year, rich people gotta get rid of move their money around, donate money and shit. When Chris made that comment about Ray Charles, so distasteful. We don't need two of them. Put that one. He didn't make no comments about white folk. He didn't go in, like Sister said again, said something about Jewish. He would have been out of that lie. Slavery has fucked up the minds of our people. This is why a lot of us sit there. This is why Brother Malcolm and Brother Farrakhan and Brother late Khalid Muhammad say the things they say about some of our people. People like Don Lemon are apologists for people like Chris Rock to go out there and do this shit, and then we sitting up there thinking that's the norm. That's why I say some of y'all defend this shit, and if you actually are black, man, y'all need to really know y'all history. Y'all really need to sit back and think about it. But see, the thing is, if they constantly keep suppressing our history, if they don't talk about it, you get further removed from like, oh, this is something that happened years ago. People have to understand. All to this day, there's still places blacks can't go. Just because you see some black person on TV don't mean that we've all overcome. I mean,
Jewish comedian or Hispanic comedian, we can't have a different standard for Chris Rock. And I want comedians are supposed to take it to the edge or over the edge or not, and try to figure out where the line is to get people to think, yeah, we have more important things to think about. We did then. It's the truth. Why is the truth offensive? That's not offensive. That's
I think that Chris Rock had one solemn moment where he really kind of encaptured what was happening with this Oscar so white movement and what folks really feel at home.
He's a comedian.
And I think he did. He did. I'm not good at that.
He does. See how disrespectful Don is. He won't let the brother speak. He won't let the brother speak. See, Don think he's protected. He doesn't think because he's a faggot and he's a token Negro at CNN, they're gonna cut his throat. I've seen a lot of black folk like your Don Lemons, your Quincy Jones at some point get theirs. But I really despise what Quincy said to Deborah Norville about what boycott mean. Boycott don't mean nothing. But if it was a boycott in the 1960s, where your old ass would be at? Don said that comics supposed to take the edge, so a comics only one supposed to talk about controversial things? That's bullshit. This is the same motherfucker that's went along with Hannibal Buress have to go after Bill Cosby. So I ain't gonna never forget that shit. Whoopi Goldberg, oh cool ass. She been in a lot of white man's knees in Hollywood talking about when somebody say boycott, that means I get pissed off.
Or he missed the
comedian that's doing the Oscars.
Okay, here was, as I was watching, I wasn't in the room, but I was just like everyone else watching on TV, and I kept watching the cutaways of all these actors, and I was almost, cringing for them, because do you applaud on these lines? I mean, Don, you were there, how did it feel to watch these people?
Okay, I had a very interesting moment because people were actually looking around to see if they should laugh, right? And I started looking around because I was the only person in my row that was cracking up. And Michaela and I were cracking up because Michaela and I sat next to
Michaela, the fat chick from working on CNN in the morning. They don't want to. And I talk about that setup because it sort of reminded me of the setup here in Chicago. But you the two black folks and y'all sitting up there laughing. And I mean, what was funny about hanging from the tree? What was so? I mean, Chris spent that opening monologue going after black folk. And that's probably why those who are white are coming to my channel defending him and criticizing me, because blacks like that make white folk feel comfortable in their racism. Now, if you're not racist, then I'm not talking about you. Because a lot of people say, he called us racist. I'm like, are you racist? If you know you ain't racist, then me calling out racism shouldn't bother you. You should be out here saying, yeah, man, go after him. Last night, they didn't treat the people who are victims of assault. They had the vice president come out and he said something forcefully to it. But when Chris said something about police officers shooting innocent black folk, people forcing the clap. Really? Right there, they showed you something. That our lives don't matter. This is why I think we in the black community got to do right by each other now. Because a lot of our people don't see this. I think if our young brothers and sisters see how people actually think about us in the context of the media, and they would say, man, I'm not killing my brothers and sisters, or I'm out here doing this destructive shit to myself, when there's a group of people who are benefiting from this.
And after the killer left, there were some jokes that went even a little bit further, and this lady behind me tapped me on the shoulder and said, I'm glad you're enjoying this, because it would be very disappointing if you weren't. And so people,
wait a minute, I'm glad you're enjoying this, because I'd be very disappointed if you don't. Right there, she told you, they know, she said this lady, white woman, more than likely, he said it would be disappointing if you didn't. That means if you ain't laughing at this nigga joke, there's something wrong with you. You must laugh at his jokes. You must make me feel comfortable about me laughing. Listen to what he just said.
This lady behind me tapped me on the shoulder and said, I'm glad you're enjoying this, because it would be very disappointing if you weren't. And so people, most of the room, obviously it's the Oscars, were filled with people who are not of color. And so the Stacey Dash thing, where Stacey Dash comes out, I cracked up because I got it, right? It's, it's part of, black culture, we get it. But most of the people in the room had no idea, and some people were turning to each other going, who's she? Is that the girl from such and such? Which is important because sometimes we give too much credence and too much importance to people who have no voice or have very little platforms or are not that important. And so...
Now, you already said, because white folks didn't know, we give too much wait. Because white folks don't know, you're saying that black folks give too much energy to Stacey. No, he's talking about himself. Regardless if white folks knew Stacey Dash or not, it was inappropriate to bring her out. See, you hear what Don Lemon said. If white folks don't acknowledge it, it don't mean nothing. That's what he just said. Let me rewind it again. See, I keep telling y'all, listen to the people's words. See, let me tell you something. I advocate for our people, or people in general, to listen to people's words very carefully. A lot of times people will insult you right to your face, and you don't realize until months or years later, oh damn, that's what they was doing.
And such, with black culture, we get it. But most of the people in the room had no idea, and some people were turning to each other going, who's she? Is that the girl from such and such? Which is important because sometimes we give too much credence and too much importance to people who have no voice or have very little platforms or are not that important. And so that moment sort of showed me, like, why are we paying so much attention to Stacey Dash? Why does she get under our skin so much?
He just said it. He basically said if white folks don't accept you or don't know you, black folks shouldn't be mad. Let me break something down to you. When white folks talk about white folks shit with other whites, I can't get mad at them because it has no bearing on me per se. If black folks criticize, and basically he's defending, he's talking about himself, but if another brother should say something out of pocket about our community in mixed company and we criticize it, are you saying because whites don't feel the same that we shouldn't say anything? That's fucked up, dog. But that tells you his mentality. Whatever I've been saying for the last 5 years, I said black entertainers, not all, but enough of them are so dangerous. He just said white approval. He just told you we need to have white approval. So he said if white folks don't know about Stacey Dash, why should we care about Stacey Dash? Stacey Dash is a black woman. I know some people say she's a black woman. Stop with that mix, all this other shit that she claims something to be claiming the last decade or so. Stop. It was insulting to bring her out on stage, Chris. She insulted black people by saying blacks, we don't need no black history. It's a reason why. Because it's a lot of things that our people have done in this country and still do who don't get acknowledged for it, whose ideals have been stolen and people made millions of dollars off of it. Quincy Jones, Whoopi, Dunn, and the rest of them, they're dangerous. And we in the black community got to push back against this. We have to. We have to. I'm telling you right now, this is why these kids out here are so angry. Because they figure we don't see ourselves. It's an empty space in their lives. We don't see ourselves. When I was a kid, I remember being in kindergarten, looking up, seeing the names of the other people. A lot of them I didn't know. A lot of them we never talked about. But back then, you saw people talking about our history. It was pride in our community. And around 1986, 87, the powers said, we got to change this shit. We got to take the mother and father out of the equation. We got to put people in positions who ain't going to teach these Negro kids anything. We got to go get black men and black women who are too afraid to say anything. They willing to go tote the company line.
It's not that important. Her voice is not that big.
Let me ask you, Mickey.
I think where they went wrong. Okay.
No, I
think where they went wrong with Stacey Dash is Stacey needed more of a setup. I agree with you, Don. Not a lot of people in the room knew who she was. And, essentially, she's the epitome of her most famous movie. She's kind of clueless. So I think maybe if they had included that in there, maybe, people would have drawn some sort of correlation. But, yeah, that was a missed moment for sure.
Let me follow with you, Mickey, and it's a bit of a delay. So, but also he was making the point too when he was asking, a lot of women are on the red carpet and they're asking, "What are you wearing?" And he, there's a whole movement saying, "Don't ask me, especially ask me more." And Chris Rock was saying, "Listen, we're not all sexist and we're not all racist, but then."
Yay, Chris Rock.
And dumb little like a little faggot. Yay, Chris Rock. I can't stand black gays. I hate y'all with motherfucking passion. Y'all get on TV and you quick to throw your people under the bus. But let me say this again. To those black men and black women that think that Chris did a great job, a lot of y'all think it because you see a black face on TV. Every time you see a black face on TV don't mean that they doing something profound or doing something on behalf of our people. A lot of times they doing it to get a paycheck. And I'm glad I've never been that kind of brother that would turn around and cut my own people's throat. I just can't do it because I have these experiences. I've seen things. I've seen our brothers and sisters come under attack. I've seen our brothers and sisters be disrespectful, disrespected in these crazy ways. But when you got black people that made their money off other brothers and sisters, they get to a certain point where they can sit back and shit on us, we need to call it out. So I won't be speaking in reverence when they say Quincy Jones has shuffled off this mortal plane of existence. You won't see me saying honoring him. I won't. Cause when you threw Ferguson under the bus and said what the boycotts mean, I already knew where your head was at. So make all the shit that people in rumors saying about Quincy Jones and shit for the years, I'm starting to maybe believe it is true.
Yeah, Chris Rock for that. But then this joke about Asians. Here he was.
The results of tonight's Academy Awards have been tabulated by the accounting firm of PricewaterhouseCoopers. They sent us their most dedicated, accurate, and hard-working representatives. I want you to please welcome Ming Zhu, Bao Ling, and David Moskowitz. It's okay. Thanks, guys. Thanks a lot. If anybody's upset about that joke, just tweet about it on your phone that was also made by these kids.
Okay, so yes, he's a comedian, that was a bit, right? That was a bit. But Nikki, the question is this, the New Yorker posed this, quote, "Why give anyone room to rationalize a double standard?"
Well, I think what was wrong with a lot of the humor last night is that it wasn't very inclusive. That bit, I have to admit, I missed the first time around because I was ordering shirts online. But I thought that was actually one of the funnier bits that night.
I didn't find it funny because y'all kept making like Asian people are so smart. And see, oh boy.
But we didn't include the Arabs and the Asians and the Latinos in this whole discussions about Oscars so white. So that was one of my main criticisms of the show. It should be about everyone.
Okay.
Yeah, and I thought the funniest joke of the night was Will Smith making the $20 million for Wild Wild West.
Right.
So he did spread it out a little bit, but not enough.
Mickey Turner,
The Rihanna thing was pretty funny.
Yeah, it was a good one. Doug Lemon, thanks for waiting.
You heard how Brooke Bauer, she didn't like the, but Don Lemon said, of course Don Lemon, gay men don't like black men don't like black women. He said the one about Rihanna was funny, but yet you was up there. We gotta protect Rihanna, so you called up. See. One of these days, we in the black community are gonna take our dollars and stop spending and supporting this racist ass system. Last night, some brother, I forget what's the name, director. I'm forgetting who else. It was in Flint, Michigan fundraiser. That was more important. The black men and black women went to the Oscars last night. All of them are coons. All of them are coons. You could have showed some solidarity. So you know what, Jada, we may not agree with you. We know it's kind of opportunistic, but she is right. Hollywood in general is racist. A like I said, like I said, I know I deviated into the Don Lemon thing, but I had to play both to let y'all see how this is being talked about. Chris didn't win any points to me, but to hear Quincy Jones say what he said, it was disappointing. But it sort of leads to you to tell you what kind of mindset this man is. This is why he quickly married a white woman and had kids with a white woman. So you have to sit back and understand that, you know, it's not just your Clarence Thomases. It's not just your Sheriff Clarks. You got motherfuckers who are in the entertainment industry who have sold our people out and said at these meetings there, I know what my people are doing. In the newsrooms, I know what my people are doing. Bunch of fucking coons.